Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports Weekly Rugby Podcast, where we focus on everything Kilkenny, Carlow and Tullow Rugby. And every week, as always, we're joined with James Blanchfield, Paddy, Browne and Tom Crotty. Lads, how's it going?
All very good, Stephen. All very good.
We had a quiet week last week. We didn't have much to report, but a busy weekend coming up fixtures-wise for us all. Of course, we're in the middle of the Six Nations now as well. Well, not in the middle of it yet, but with the Six Nations up and running anyway, and plenty of rugby going on at the moment. Paddy, things not going terribly well for Tullow at the moment. You probably prefer to be further up the table and a bit more consistency this time of the season, but you have a big job on your hands at the weekend, but you have Seapoint coming down, but you're at home is the main thing.
Yeah, we've 3 matches left now, as all the teams have, and we're not in a great position. I think we've a tougher run in than the 2 teams we're competing with for the second bottom place, which obviously is Carlow and Tallaght, both our near neighbours. Having lost to Carlow, that certainly, and then Carlow going on to beat Wicklow, certainly put us in a weak position. We're on so. As I said, we've the tougher run in. Both Carlow and the Thai have one of their matches is home against Ashbourne, who are kind of gone at this stage. They've only 4 or 5 points, and most teams are getting bonus points off them, so that's probably assured. So the only chance we have is to win our 3 matches, and they're certainly not easy matches. As you said there, Stephen, we have Seapoint at home this weekend, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. With the following week, we're away to a tie, which won't be simple either, obviously. And then there's a break of a week after that, and then our final league match is league leaders Vective in Tullow. At that stage, positions will be clearer, and whether they are going to be all out to win it or what. I'm sure they will, but it's a pretty tough run in, and certainly appears tougher than the other 2 teams. But anyway, that's jumping the gun a little bit. Our first concern is to look to Seapoint next Saturday at 3 o'clock. The kickoff times are going back to 3 o'clock now from next Saturday onwards, with a little bit of a stretch in the evenings. So a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday against Seapoint in Tullow. We've played Seapoint twice already this year, obviously in the league up in Seapoint, and then we played them in the All-Ireland Junior Cup in the second round of that, up in Seapoint as well. They beat us in the league narrowly, and we actually beat them in the Junior Cup, which was a very good win for us, given our respective positions in the league at that time. They're still way ahead of us in the league. I think they're in second position, and given our form of late, there will be favourites coming down. So we'll need to be at our very best to take anything from them. I was talking to Mark Crotty there earlier just to see what the mood in the camp is like, and he's a little bit, I'd say, disappointed with the training. The seconds are not training in big numbers even after their great win against Carlow, and that's disappointing, because you need the seconds out training to provide opposition to the first, and also in training, and also to put pressure on for places. So himself and Morris, I think, are a little bit disappointed with that. In terms of who's available, we were missing Stevie Smith and Gareth Fitzgerald for the Carlow match, and Gareth is okay. He was just sick at the time, so he'll be okay. But Stevie has a longer term injury, and he'll be missing, and he's a big loss to us. He's our kind of our spiritual leader in the forwards. Our newbie Mark Ashton is out as well. He's just not available, and Bucko Kyo is out, so we're missing. But they weren't starting, but they were doing a good job as subs, so they'll be a bit of a loss as well. Dara Cosgrave, who's been missing for the last while, is back training and may be available. We don't know yet. He had to see the doctor after training on Tuesday night. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one, and we'll need Tullow to play at their very best. Home advantage hopefully will make some bit of a difference, but as I say, Seapoint, our favourites coming down, and we've a tough run in coming in, but we'll give it our best shot on Saturday anyway. The seconds, as I said, are also playing at 1:30. on the grass pitch, and while they're going reasonably okay, they're not training very well, and so we'll see how it goes. Up there in the seconds, it was a very good match. Seapoint narrowly beat us, but it was a really cracker of a match, and there was nothing between the sides. So hopefully the seconds will maintain their form against Carlow, against Seapoint this weekend. Our ladies, the AIL team are away to Suttonians at 5:00 in Sutton on Saturday, and the J1 women are away to Barnhall at 12:00 on Sunday. Going at past results, we'd no senior matches last weekend. With no podcast last week, but the AIL ladies played UL Bows the week before and put up a fair display, but still were well beaten. I think they were beaten 55-0. It was a big score, but I think they were relatively happy with the performance. And as I said before here, that they're getting well beaten every weekend, but I think at the same time they're enjoying the experience, and they're not disheartened, which is good to see. Like, the very little chance at this stage of staying up. They need a couple of wins, and it's not likely to happen. But they are enjoying the experience, and that's good to hear, because they're playing against super teams and a very high level of rugby. So they're there's a noise there now, Stephen. Is that okay? It's gone now, I think. I don't know if you could hear it. Just a few other things just in relation to the youths. We had a fairly full round of matches last weekend. The 13 boys had a big win against Wexford, 40 points to 10 at home. The under 14 boys went down to Wicklow, 15-19 in Wicklow. The under 15 boys beat Mullingar in Tullow, 23-19. The under 16 boys beat a tie, 28-12 in Tullow. The under 16 girls drew with New Ross, 10-all, Rhinos and New Ross. And the under 18 boys went down to Byrne, 29-14. And the under 18 girls, and Tom will probably talk about, went down narrowly. They beat Greystones in a high scoring match, 34-27. And there's a full round of matches again this weekend coming up. On Saturday, the 13 boys are away to Portlaoise, the 14 Rhinos are away to Kilkenny, the 15 boys are away to Carlingford Knights, which is a team I didn't know existed. The under 16 Rhinos have no match, the under 18 boys have no match. So I've mentioned all the matches. So that's what's going on the rugby scene. There's not no matches, not much to report on from last weekend. But when I have the floor, I just want to let you know about another hopefully exciting developments taking place in Tullow. Planning Commission will be going in this week for a fairly major club development. And if we get to go ahead, there's a very active committee in place to oversee the project, and it's major. So there's about 9 or 10 elements to it. There's female changing rooms, 8 changing rooms altogether, including referee changing rooms, male and female, and a female-only area within that, because that's vitally important now when we have so many female teams. We've disabled parking and toilets as part of the plan. I said 8 change rooms, as I said, including referees' change rooms, and a purpose-built physio room. It'll be a new building up where the current dressing room unit is, and extending that. And it will mean that there'll be looking out over the 3G pitch and the grass pitch. And the plan is to have a first floor bar and viewing gallery, which would be great if you want to have a drink and watch the match at the same time. And also a rooftop viewing gallery over the changing rooms. And also new lighting on the grass pitch and
you're turning Black Gates into a Riviera. The Tullow Riviera, Paddy, is what you're building up there, lad.
Well, you compared me to a lot of things on this podcast, James, over the months, but don't compare me to the great Donald Trump, please. I will draw a line at that. Okay. But anyway, Riviera or no, we don't get that kind of weather in Tullow that we might get in Gaza. But unfortunately, we'll do our best. So just I keep you informed. But as the planning is going in now, I said it's maybe a good time to let people know about it. So that's it, James or Stephen from Tullow.
Good stuff, Paddy. That sounds exciting. There's a great old development there as it is, I suppose, but extending on top of that as well, and of course out to the side and back. Very exciting, of course, for the club, especially in the last few years after getting your 3G, 4G pitch as well and all that as well. Another nice little addition to it and something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited about this. We are absolutely. So
good stuff.
Very good.
Thanks for that, Paddy. That's Paddy keeping you up to date on all things Tullow, and good luck the weekend against Seapoint and to all other teams as well. James Blanchfield, you were in action last weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we were.
Good win there.
We had a great day. It was probably, have to say, it was probably one of our most from the first 15 most complete performances put in all season. A real 80-minute performance, and have to hand it to the lads. They started missing 6 starters. Our full starting front row was absent. Of like Ben Devlin, Brian Howe, and Josh Evans, all the way at a stag party in the UK. Jay Lahey has a broken wrist, broke it the week before against Kildare, unfortunately. Jason Connolly was away skiing, and Aaron Askins, our scrum half, was injured as well. So we started with a little bit of a, how would you say, mix and gathering of players, but everybody stood up to the mark. Liam Phelan, who has retired, I'd definitely say he's on his 10th or 12th retirement at this stage, came back to play loose head. Charlie Buckley at hooker. Mark Power, who's actually our under-18 tight head, started for our first on Saturday and was by no manner of means out of place, or did he look out of place in the game. Second row was Joe Connolly and Jake Callbeck. In the back row was Wes Carter, Gary Dunn, and Joe Manuel moved into into number 8. Joe kind of moved into number 8. It was kind of a tactical move, so he could handle Paulie Tulafua, who kind of was a bit of a wrecking ball there for De La Salle. Daniel Ring, our under-18 scrum halves, he only turned 18 about 4 or 5 weeks ago. He started at scrum half, and Jack Campion started at out half. So that was an 18 and 19-year-old half-back pairing for us, which great for the future, kind of young fellas coming through. Tommy Murphy was on one wing, Ewan Rossetti was on the other wing, Brian MacDonald and Podge Mann were in the centres, and Axel Montgomery was full back. It was just a class game, start to finish. We won 38-24, but the it started. We went 14-0 up half time through tries from Axel Montgomery and Tommy Murphy, converted by Jack Campion. And at that stage, I thought we were cruising. And then next thing, Salle Palmerstown's 2 second rows switched it on, and we were working to contain their number 8 Paulie Tulafua, which we did relatively well. He was chopped any time he took the ball into contact. But their 2 second rows, one of which is actually a Kilkenny chap who came through our youth system, James Kenny, we couldn't handle them. They wreaked havoc around the pitch. Yeah, James Kenny went on a 60-metre run up the middle of the pitch, and he drove Kilkenny lads left, right and centre. Hopefully he'll be a guy we'll see back in the Kilkenny jersey next year. And from that, De La Salle built up a lot of momentum, and they made it 14-all at the break. And but then we came back out again, and we went 19-14 up. Jay Callbeck got a good try off a driving maul line out. He reached, look at Jay's about 6'7". He reached from what seemed to be about 10 foot out and still got his big levers over the line to get the score. That stage, Jack Campion's kicking went off a little bit, and we kind of missed a few there. But next thing, De La Salle went ahead. They went 21, got a converted try, going 21-19 up ahead. And we were all kind of feeling, here's a little bit of deja vu coming now with game 1, and we're taking our foot off the gas. And we had that again the previous week against the Cup against Kildare, where we had them dead and buried, and they brought on Damien Brockall and suddenly opened the whole game up, and we weren't able for them. But in fairness to the lads this week, they knuckled down again, and Jake Hall, after Jake's try, De La Salle got it level, and then we got two tries through Charlie Buckley and Joe Manuel, with Jack Campion converting the final conversion from the touchline. So it puts us up into kind of 5th position in the league. Kind of, how would I say, it certainly confirms our place that we're out of any trouble of relegation, and I suppose the hope would be now is to try and get a higher finish as we can. But look at it, I have to say, considering we're missing six starters, particularly 3 of our main front row players, it was just a great performance. Find that the game was kind of marred by a season-ending injury for Brian MacDonald, who dislocated his shoulder, and just what appeared to be an inconspicuous kind of incident where he just made a tackle, or I think he made a tackle, and as he was getting up off the ground, someone hit him and he fell and hit his shoulder and appeared to dislocate it. And Brian's a small guy in stature, but he's a tough cookie, and in fairness to him, it wasn't nice seeing him going off. But look, we'll have to work without him now, because it looks like season-ending injury for him and for Jay Lahey the previous week. But the good news is that there's a lot of players returning as well. Through the seconds had a heavy loss. I think it was 32 points to 8, but because there was such a draw up to the firsts of seconds players, they kind of had to, again, there was a mix and gathering of guys there. But our women had a good win on the road up in Tallaght, 0-0 at half time. So it was probably a classic first half of rugby. But second half tries through Eve Cronin, Lika Hoban, and a second by Eve Cronin, and all three of those tries were converted by Emily Kenny. So what that means for the women's team now is that they pretty much have cemented 4 places in the league. For a league that they weren't supposed to be in, they only got put into it through a kind of a default because other teams withdrew, so they got promoted. So they're in 4th place in that league now, and consolidated that league. They're on 22 points, 7 points ahead of Ashbourne, which was a couple of games left to play. So in fairness to the women, they kind of hit a very rocky patch there, probably between December, January, but they're back to winning ways now, and you could see them kind of getting a couple of players through from under 18s again next year. You can see them building on that and trying to get a higher place finish in the league next year. Youth rugby, our under 14 girls lost to Port Arlington. The under 18 girls lost to Della Mary's, a combo between De La Salle, Palmerston and St Mary's, in a cracking game. The under 13 boys was probably the game of the weekend. They were 22 points to 0 up at half time. And Water Park was just a friendly game against Water Park. Water Park clawed it back, and the game ended up 29-30 in favour of Water Park. So they were all delighted. I know Mark Murphy and Mary Francis, their coaches, were disappointed coming off the pitch, but as we all said to them, like they once they stay learning it's under 13s rugby, they're still only finding their feet, so they'll be fine. Our under 18s had a big win against Carlow in the Southeast semi-final, on 41 points to 12, and we need to consider there as well that both Mark Power and Dan Ring didn't play that game. They were held back to play first on Sunday, the following day. As mentioned, the J2s lost and the first 15 won, which is probably a good segue into looking forward to what's happening this weekend. I suppose the firsts are going into what's going to be a really, really, really tough league game against Wexford. It's a rescheduled game that was meant to be played but was called off because of snow. We have a 100% home record this year, and we'll be looking to maintain that against them. But Wexford are coming up in really, really good form. They're coming up with with Mullingar losing games around them. Byrne have gone top of the league. Wexford are in second. Wexford will probably be looking at trying to get second place in the league, if not get more. So they're going to be trying to get a result off us. And as Johnny Tobin would say, they have the brushstrokes of Morris Logue all over them, who's apparently helping out with them. So we're going to have to be very on point to beat Wexford. It gave us a good trimming down there earlier on in the season. We'll have a much different team, but irrespective of that, we again, like last Sunday, we need an 80-minute performance from 100% of our players, and from when the guys on the bench are called upon. So that's kicking off. That's in the club on Saturday, and we're just looking forward to it. Youth rugby look ahead on Saturday. The under 14 girls play the Rhinos in Kilkenny College at 10:30. The under 15 boys play Carlow in Kilkenny College at 11:30. The under 18 boys are on the road to Kildara, kicking off at 12. The under 18 girls play the Ravens away at 12. J1 and J2, as I mentioned, both at home against Wexford. And on Sunday, the under 14 boys are on the road up to Blackgates to play Tullow in the Southeast semi-final there, and I think that's kicking off at 12:30. Just some other little bits and pieces that's going on. as always, we have player profiles on our socials. This week it's Charlie Buckley. I know Charlie a really long time. I took him through youth rugby. He left us at under 16s to go to school in Kilkenny College. Charlie's back now, and it's great to see him. He's starting on our first last week, and had a really good game at hooker. You would actually question Ben Devlin. We wouldn't question Ben Devlin, but you'd actually wonder. We didn't miss Ben because Charlie played so well, is what I'm trying to say. Steve Ashmore has done a lot of research in the last number of weeks, and we're kind of researching the number of players that we can validate that have made 100+ appearances for our first 15. Since the electric score, our team sheets came in 2011. We've identified 8 players to make that breakthrough. Some are obvious, some aren't so obvious. There is a little competition going on the socials as to anyone can guess the 8. There'll be a prize there for that. Now, look, I need to caveat it that there are some probably some players through the 90s and early 2000s who probably have achieved it as well. Guys like Ivor O'Brien, Barry Daly played first for 15, 16 years. Guys like those would probably have 100 caps as well, but it's just it's a nice thing that Steve is doing there. Just want to say not our condolences, but kind of commiserations to Kilkenny College. Junior Cup and Senior Cup both bowed out of the cups at the first hurdle. Juniors yesterday and the seniors last week. But the junior team has a huge Kilkenny Rugby Club involvement. I think there's 7, if not 8 players in the squad from the club. Ones I could just jot down were Dylan Ryan, Sonny McGlynn, Paddy McDonald, Josh Leeson, Gavin Ryan, who was son of Victor Ryan, who would be a past player with our firsts, Dylan Askins, who's brother of our first 15 scrum half, Aaron Askins, and Ronan Tracy. So it's nice to have that. In some ways, we look at Kilkenny College saying, well, we lose players to the college because of the school's rule. But if you look at our first 15 with Jack Campion there, Aaron Askins and these guys, they certainly always come back to the club, and you're going to get guys coming back to the club who have played a lot of schools rugby. But look at commiserations to Wes and Axel and the wider coaching team on the seniors as well. 3 moments of the week have been posted to the socials. Worthwhile going and have a look at the 3 tries because they're 3 really cracking scores. I just want to kind of put a note out to our youth coaches that when you look at our first 15 last Sunday, look across it, the amount of players that came through youth rugby that are on that team, particularly Dan Ring and Mark Power. The youth coaching is working for us. The youth system is working, and yet we have a few players playing elsewhere around the province. We have Dermot Rowe down in Cashel. We have James Kenny up in James and John Kenny up in De La Salle. We have Johnny Kiley in Old Belvedere. But the players that are in the club and coming through the club, if we could get some of the guys who are playing elsewhere back, I really believe that we have a team that's capable of going on to win 1A or 1B in the next couple of years and competing in 1A. But look at just kudos to all of our youth coaches who are making that happen. And that is it for me for this week.
Good stuff, James. And good luck the weekend against Wexford. It's
going to be a huge battle. Huge battle. We have to be really prepared for it. Because Wexford are going to come up here. They're going, in their minds, they're going to beat us. And in our minds, we have to be ready to take everything they're going to throw at us,
Absolutely. Best of luck with that one. Tom Crotty, how are you going? Tom joins us. Tom, you've got the long flight to Athy this weekend to play your nearest and dearest. A big local derby, but we were talking about easy run-ins towards the end of the season. I suppose Tullow are probably on the wrong side of that, as Paddy was saying there earlier with the different clubs. I suppose yours would appear to be one of the easier run-ins, but it's probably not taken quite as easy as that from your point of view.
Absolutely not. No, I suppose since the last podcast we beat Wicklow 21-0, which was a massive win for us. Got us back on track again. We needed to win that to keep this part of the season's goals in line. So our seconds had they lost to a young Wicklow side who were just that little bit fitter, probably a little bit more organised. I think they had some of their 20s playing, but the seconds did well enough. They're the league is kind of out of their hands and they're building now towards the Seconds Cup. So just a bit unfortunate. They were doing quite well, and then Wicklow had a couple of easy tries. But look, the first had a fantastic game, probably one of our better performances of the season. We butchered a few chances for the bonus point, which would have made a huge difference to us. But it was, the only thing I was a bit annoyed over was Wicklow went down uncontested scrums, and we were totally scrum dominant at that stage, and that kind of affected probably the out. May not, but if you're scrum dominant and can get penalties from it, there would be more chances to get that bonus point at the end. But look, we kept them to nil, which was great for our defence. Yeah, they were on to a tie this weekend, and there's no illusions that it was easy run. I don't know about any easy run, because a tie, very, very strong side, probably haven't had the results that they were looking for in the last couple of games. But we have the greatest respect for them. They beat us in Carlow. They came over. They were at that stage they were probably far more fired up for the game and up against it, because we beat them last year in the league at home, and it probably led at the time for them not winning the league and for us winning the league. So they come over with a point to prove, and we were probably a bit lackadaisical against them in the first game. But look, we're looking forward to this game. It's a massive game for us. It's probably the biggest game of the season. We've no illusions going to. A tie is a tough place to get a win for anyone, especially in a derby. It's no different than going to Blackgate. It's never going to be easy going over there. Only good news, we're probably back strong. We have both Daniel Crotty came back in for the game last week against Wicklow, and Ben is back on the bench for this week. And everyone else seems to be in decent enough order. So it's going as full strength as we possibly can. The only one who's really is Johnny Murphy, who's out for the season. Everybody else seems to be back on track, which is huge. We were getting a bit worried there with the amount of injuries and niggles and stuff that we were getting, and but that seems to have ironed itself out. Just want to give a compliment to Jamie McCabe, Jamie played fantastic rugby last season, came back after not playing for a number of years and played with the Seconds, and we kind of said at the start of the season, at the end of the season when he played in the Seconds Cup, that he would be one that would be looking, probably might be breaking forward into the first. But unfortunately for us, Jamie had a good run with Fenna football, and got all the way into Leinster with that. So we didn't get him back till late, but just through injury and that, he came back and had a couple of good games, and was playing on the wing, and was played probably was a tiny bit lost in the game against Bector, but didn't do a whole lot wrong, and then had a really, really good game there against Wicklow. So he's cemented his place on the wing for this week. So, but it's just compliments to him for putting in the effort and coming back. It's not easy to break into a team, and I don't think he probably saw himself slipping in there to the first team, but he has, and he's proven himself a decent player. As I said, like everybody else, he's on track. I have a super set of backs. We know that, and if we don't shut them down, we're in bother. Forwards boys, as I said last time, they were far hungrier than us. If we don't match them for the physicality and really show our physicality to them, the only way that we're going to win that game is if we show up 100. It's like you're going to have to be 100% clued in. It's like a Towns Cup final. You have to get in there, and with 3 games left, and we have to win them all. We've no choice. We're fighting between ourselves, Tullow and the tie for the second last place, and we all have a goal for that, to stay out of that place, because it looks like Tullamore could come down, and if Bector don't come up, there'll be 2 teams relegated. So it's not a good position to be in. you know, and particularly when there's 3 teams fighting to stay out of that second last place. But look, we're with a good training session on Tuesday, got in one last Thursday, and the weather was crap. But hopefully we get a good session in again tonight, and then full preparation then going towards Thai on Sunday. But we'll be looking for as much support as possible, because Thai are on fire, but their club is very successful at the moment, and they've been getting massive crowds to their home games. So look, we won't be under any illusion it's going to be a battle from the first whistle to the final whistle. They don't give up either, so it won't be a case of if you get a couple of tries, you put them away. You'll have to stay awake for the full 80 minutes to beat it. And I believe we have a team there that can beat them. You know, and I think we're sort of in a good place, and hopefully next week I'll be backing that up. But as I say, it's one of those games that you have to be wary and you have to be clued in. The same as, you know, any time when you come down to the last 3 games of the league, it's you know, unless you're safe stuck in the middle, that you can be, you know, you can take it handy, but you can't take anything for granted. We have to go and fight for all games. We've Thai, Ashbourne, and then our last game away is not easy either. It's away to Suttonians, and we beat Suttonians well in Carlow. I'm sure they'll be looking for a bit of revenge in the last game. So no easy task going in, but we give it our best. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be as good a game as is expected to be.
You know, Tom, I think it'd be a great achievement for you, and don't take me up the wrong way, but it'd be a fantastic achievement for you to stay up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, very few people probably gave you a chance of staying up at the start of the season, and you know, you're probably on the cusp of it now over the next 3 weeks. It's the same for Tullow, but you were the new boys in the league. It's really in your own hands now.
Yeah, it's a totally. I've said it a number of times. It's so much different than 1B. And 1B, you can get away with those. You know, if you make him or you know, someone misses a tackle, or you know, nothing. You know, you might take the foot out of the pedal for a few minutes, and you're grand. You get away with it, but Jesus, 1A, you learn, you know, really to our detriment in the first few games. If you're not clued in, if you make mistakes, you know, you just get punished.
Yeah.
Especially against the Dublin side. Any team that has a decent backline will eat you alive out wide. If your defense is not up and you're not pressing, if your scrum is not right, if your line outs are out, Jesus, we got so many lessons in the last, you know, pre-Christmas. So hopefully those lessons have all come to fruition, and we've learned our lesson with those and move on.
Effective away seems to be a turning point for you. Like, you nearly had them. Like.
Yeah, and that was, as I said, that was we had a good few injuries going into Bective, and we were, look, to be honest, and I think everybody had real doubts in their head, and we were very worried because Bective got the few tries in early, and we said, "Oh Christ, here we go again." This is good. It could be addicting if we don't do something about it. But in fairness, we turned that game around in the second half, and Bective didn't score in the second half, and we had it. You know, it's not saying
it seems to have grown in confidence since it.
Yeah, huge. You know, Bective are a good side, and I don't know if they'll have a big battle on Saturday when they play them.
Yeah.
Hopefully now it's all roads lead to a tie for us at the weekend, and we'll have to see what happens there, and then that'll, you know, I know everybody's going to be looking. Look at our results. A tie will be beating Browne to get us out of the way, and you know, so it's tight. And look, it's probably it makes a league interesting. You know, if you have competition at the top, and I think Seapoint are still in it. But they'll have to beat Tullow at the weekend, not Tullow at the weekend, if they want to stay in any hope of coming first. So everybody at this stage has something to, except for Ashbourne, who I'm afraid won't be there next year. But everybody else has you know, something to play for, which is probably the nice way to be at this stage of any season in a league. There's often been leagues where you have 4 teams at the top, you know, just disappearing off into the distance, and then you have 2 teams at the bottom who are just, you know, fading away, and you have 2 teams probably safe. But it's just, look, it probably shows the quality that's there in that league, you know. And it's nice to just Division 1B where we're on about it. Like, it's great to see teams like Wexford coming back into the fruition. And Ross had a massive win there in Towns Cup as well against Mullingar. You know, so
that was a huge win.
It's pretty to see teams that were there years ago starting to make a comeback. You know,
absolutely.
Ross seem to have something going well down there. You have to say.
Yeah, they have a fantastic director of rugby, young David Crowder. He's still playing in the centre. And I think they've Walter Walsh joining them there in the centre, and they sit 6'7".
Yeah, they have
it's brilliant. It's fantastic to have, really fantastic.
And Wexford New Ross do that every few years. They seem to make this resurgence. They seem to get a gang of lads back, and they go and they get promoted, and they skip a year or two, and then lads either pack it in or go away. Like, I remember years ago playing them in a league decider in Kilkenny, and they had a star-studded team. Like, they had your man Mick Cody was number 8 for them. They had Gary Conway, they had Spider O'Brien, Tommy O'Brien. They had a really good team, and they came up and they battered us in Kilkenny, and they got promoted and we didn't. And then it kind of went down, and they made a real good drive in the last few years. I think the New Ross lads are great. And to beat Mullingar, who thought they were going to win the Towns Cup.
Like Tullow, they've just put in plan for it. They're doing a whole revamp of their dressing rooms and clubhouse as well. So look, it's brilliant, and they've done a fantastic job in the 2 pitches. Yeah. You know, we all remember the glory hole. There's no
glory hole is no more.
Yeah, push them into the hole, Ross.
Yeah, and I tell you, as good as Carlow were back in the day, you got stuck in that corner. Didn't matter how good you were.
You couldn't get out.
You know.
Glory hole.
Massive job down there. So we ran another Southeast team and 2 Southeast teams under development.
That's
it. Wexford and Ross. You know, it's great to have it. I keep harping on about how good the Southeast is as a region. You know, as our own area, and it's you know, we're strong in youths and we're getting stronger. We're starting to pick up a bit of pace now at senior level as well. So, you know, play on the Southeast.
That's a good thing, yeah.
And stop talking about other clubs and back onto my own. We had the women had their first loss of the season. They went up to Swords, who came down from Division 4 into Division 6. They played tennis side and were way stronger at tennis. Like, I think it's unfortunate for the girls playing in the league, because there's a lot of girls only starting off, and you know, when they play 15 aside, they play 2 15-aside games this year, and both of those games they played really, really well and won them. You know, just when it comes down to like tennis side is like playing sevens. It's a totally different game, and a few players who played, you know, before previously, and it's very tough, and it's hard in a league when you're trying to get going to come up against teams that are playing and have low numbers, but they have experience. When you've an experienced player starting off, Jesus, like playing tennis side is just so hard. You know, 15s you get away with it because you have more players on the pitch defending, and you kind of have your structures that you're trying to work on and train. But that all goes out the window when you're playing 10s. It goes into it's basically 7s throwing the ball around, and I think they got caught out with just more experience, and you know. They had a couple of strong girls in the pack, and then they just had more experience across the field. So, look, we're still in a position to win the league. We're playing Lansdowne in 2 weeks' time at home. If we can beat Lansdowne and beat Midland Warriors away, they can win the league and hopefully get promoted and get into a league where they can. We need to start getting into a league where you're getting to play 15-aside. Because to be honest, like playing tennis side, and it's very hard on girls, and if they're not, and then you're trying to get, when you have a panel like I think we have a panel now with 22 women, and it's very hard to try and get everybody games, you know, playing tennis side or 11-aside. It's so hard trying to swap players in and swap players out, and you know, and you have to give, because it's the first year for us, and to give that social. You know, we want to have it social, and like Tullow had years ago coming through, the women, it didn't happen overnight, you know, and they bond as a team. You go up through the divisions and you enjoy it, but if the girls don't enjoy it and going out playing this game, it's not suiting, you know, it's tough. So hopefully we can just get out of that division, or if there's a restructure next year again, that we'll get into a division that we can learn and play as a team of 15. But look, as I said, they're still in a good place, and they're still training well, and you know they seem to be positive. And we've been drawn swords in the cup as well, in the women's cup, in the Division 4 and 5 or Division 5 and 6 cup, and that's at home. So we'll hopefully get a little bit of vengeance back in them when we play them at home. Only a couple of results in from the youth as Paddy went through. The under 16s Rhinos had a very good draw against New Ross, who beat them I think earlier in the season. And the under 18s had a very good win. The Rhinos had a very good win against Greystones. It was, as Paddy said, it was 34-27, a really high scoring game, and against the Greystone team that they were fighting for the last place in the semi-finals. So we had already qualified, and they were probably underestimated them a little bit, but it was a high scoring game. But the girls come out on top in the end, and they played fantastic. They're trying to play from the good, really good brand of rugby with their offload game. Same with the weekend was superb. The interaction, the play was really, really good. Probably struggled a bit at rough time. That they're going to work. We worked hard on it last night. We were playing Portlaoise in the Cup in Carlow on Friday night lights at 7:45, and we're looking for as much support as possible to come over for that. As well, they're a good side to watch and enjoyable to watch. The lads watched them on. Some of our own first players watched them on Saturday, and we're very impressed with the way they played. So it'd be nice if people come up and give our, especially since the combination of the two clubs, it's great to see it. The girls are playing really, really well. There's no clubs involved. They're the Rhinos, and that's it. They just play for each other, and they're a good, great bunch of girls. Moving on, our under 18s lost very close match, 14-15 to Balbriggan. The under 14s lost last night to Portlaoise. That was like a Babas match with one of the scores. It was 31-19 in the end, and the ball's being thrown left, right, and centre. It was great to watch. But I'm sure the coaches from either side probably weren't too impressed with the tries that were being let in. But look, it's all about getting. I haven't got the other results in, and the fixtures for the weekend didn't come into me yet before they were supposed to be in, but I haven't got them. But that's really all from Carlow, except one thing on Social Point. We have music bingo in the club on the Saturday, the 1st of March. It's seemingly a great crack. It's done with music, and you sing and you jump up and down, and loads of prizes, and it's seemingly a really, really good night out. And the tickets are available for that online through Instagram and Facebook page. But it's open to everybody, and we'd be delighted to have a full house for that one, because seemingly it is supposed to be really, really good crack. All the music is all songs that and sing-along songs. So I think there's 4 rounds and loads of prizes for different things.
I'm sure a bingo bus is pulled up outside for that, Tom.
Yeah. I'll be up there too. I'll be there anyway. I don't know about jumping up and down, but I'll definitely be there for the crack. That's really all from Carlow. Not a whole lot else. Just looking forward to the weekend and see how it goes.
Absolutely.
A lot of eyes will be on Twitter and everything, waiting for results.
Oh yeah,
seeing what's going on. That was actually the first time. It was nice to be able to concentrate solely on the game, on against Wicklow, because you knew that nobody else was playing, and you weren't waiting on results or looking at who's ahead or who's not ahead and who's winning at the time and these things. And it doesn't matter what way they're coming in on the sideline, Tullow or up or Tullow or down or a tie or up or whoever's up. And you're going,
Tom, we'll wish you and the tie both the best of luck, and that means that maybe a draw because.
That means a draw with 4 bonus points, with 4 try bonus points.
That's it. Yeah. It really as good as a win to come away from with 3 points. Like
I tell you, I think I know it wouldn't really suit, but I think either side now at this stage take the draw. But look, it's going to be tough. For sure.
Yeah.
C'est la vie, that's sports, and that's
it.
Absolutely.
how we get on.
Tense times. Best of luck the weekend, lads. All your matches. Enjoy the Six Nations as well. There's obviously a full round of games on that this weekend as well. And we'll catch up with us next week.
Tomorrow, is it?
Ireland team's tomorrow, yeah.
The 20th
Yeah,
come out.
the match Sunday. Which team?
Didn't see it yet, Tom. No, the 20th.
No, it was strange. They usually have it out on the Wednesday. It didn't come out. I didn't see it.
1 second there now. No, there's nothing up there yet. Anyway, see, Sean O'Brien is in the main Ireland camp this week before he heads off with the A coaching team along with Mark Sexton, Johnny's brother, his younger brother.
Yeah.
So good luck to Sean doing that as well.
Absolutely, perfect. It's a big honour.
There.
No better man. Yeah, it just shows how highly regarded he is in the Leinster setup to be brought up there. So fair play to him.
Yeah,
very good.
Indeed. I think it'll be an interesting game in Murrayfield on Sunday. I think we'll beat them out the gate.
Oh, Jesus.
You are one brave man. I'm a little bit more confident.
I think we'll beat them by 2 scores. That's
I'm
what I mean
out
the gate.
Confident that Tully stuck by the centre is gone.
Yeah, yes, I am. That's why I'm saying it, because he's been a troubled player for Ireland for the last few years.
Oh yeah,
he's playing. If you have been watching Glasgow himself and the 2 boys in the centre are just wrecking balls. They're so good. You know they have like
sweep a lot of.
If you have the full Scotland backline there.
They're excellent. They're excellent. We'll just have to beat them in the forwards and keep the ball away from those backs because they can't give out those backs. Well, Darge and Van der Merwe are super as well. So you'd be dependent on Russell to make a few whoopsies, and he does in every match. But they're very good.
Yeah, it was a bit he was a bit shaky against Italy even last weekend. You could see, that where Scotland were some of their weak parts last weekend, and I think Russell wasn't fully switched on either. Not even against Italy. Sort of silly
he's a big game player.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Yeah, it's.
He is. Yeah. He can do. He can be brilliant. He can make
it's Ireland's pack and physicality is probably Scotland's slightly weaker.
I wouldn't change anything in the Ireland team,
but their backline is. Like Blair Kinghorn, if he's on form, he's a super
full back for the Lions on his current form, isn't he?
That's brilliant,
the back three are big.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
You wouldn't change anything, James, you were saying, for the Irish team?
No, I wouldn't. I think the formula that was worked last week, I'd love to say, you'd love to see Sheehan start. Probably he might start, You have to say, right, Jack Conan had a serious impact off the bench. Crowley had a serious impact off the bench. I think stick with it. My mind is you don't change a winning team, and you don't change a winning team. Paddy just mentioned Scotland, the strength of some of the Scottish players. Our strength is our pack, and if that pack dominated the English pack last week, which isn't easy with those 2 Curries in the back row, they're animals.
Who's going to replace Joe McCarthy?
There's talk it's Tom Ahern, isn't there?
I'm sure he was missing last week, and it was Ryan Baird and Jack Conan. And
Baird to me was a little bit anonymous, but
I think that's start Jack Conan and put Baird in the sub. Baird might be more of an impact sub. Yeah, I think Baird might be more of an impact sub. Although, the lineouts are brilliant, and he was gone the lineout, so you can't fault him there.
True, yeah.
No, and I think, but the only thing is we had such an impact off the bench. Jack Conan's a huge player off the bench. When you're tired. And I thought Crowley played extremely well when he came on.
In 10 minutes, people were complaining about Conan being included because he hasn't played much rugby. He doesn't do this. In 10 minutes, Conan proved why he's in that squad. He proved probably why he's just a hard man,
He is, yeah.
Well, I don't understand why people talk like that with him, because I think he's a fantastic player for Leinster and a fantastic player.
And starting line's number 8 in the last tour, so we can't forget that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's like, you're going to need the likes of him because you're going like Peter O'Mahony's days are basically over.
Yeah.
You know, and you need that kind of that rough, that hard, tough player that comes off. You know, he actually makes an impact.
He does.
The bench that came on made an impact. You need your bench to make an impact. You know, and I think it must be a tough decision to make, especially with the hookers. You know,
we could have.
Does Sheen come on and make that impact?
I don't know where the article was. I kind of read yesterday, but was a train of thought that Ireland could have 2 hookers on the Lions tour.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know,
very possible.
And then like people are talking just about Tom Ahern, how unfortunate Tom Ahern is, this blah blah blah. In my mind, Tom Ahern's not in the Irish squad because of the way Munster use him. If you look at the second row, they're in the Irish squad. They play a second row. They're doing the dirty, they're doing their carrying. Munster are using Ahern out wide on the wings, and I think
he's actually 6 as well.
Yeah. You know, he's a second row. Play the chap second row because, in my mind, that's why. And he's the type of player Ireland probably need as well, an athletic second row that can go in there when games are getting loose to try and win a game for you. But the way Munster are using him, in my mind, is actually holding them back from international.
With me at 6'7" or 6'9" is not a 6. And not a 6. A 6'9" is in the second row. It's too tall to be. Maybe I'm daft in the way of thinking, but I think it's too tall to be 6. 6 needs to be hard as nails and does all the dirty work, you know, and that's what you need in your 6. You know,
but I think if we win on Saturday, if we win Sunday, which I think we will, it's all roads for France then. And how we stop this French scrum half, I don't know, because he is just incredible.
Unstoppable.
It's the only way.
You know, I would say like that we have the best scrum half in the world in James Gibson Park, but the best rugby player in the world by a country mile. If you get what I'm saying, has to be the point. Has to be the point.
No, he's actually the Matrix. There's actually really 2 of them on the pitch, but you don't realise.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
He's definitely. I don't know how he is. I think things must slow down for him as he comes into the rucks and stuff because he's just phenomenal. You just see so much vision across the pitch.
He's class.
Yeah. All ahead of us. All good rugby.
It's like a wheelbarrow, Tom.
Yeah, on the pitch and off the pitch, we look good rugby.
Lads, go well the weekend. Have a good one. And
take care, lads.
Best of luck to the teams and see you next week.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Thank you, then. Take care.
Bye now.